Hey guys, this is Marshall with Kingslayer Cards. We just got done at BSF, Georgia, Duluth to be specific. My team got third place overall, and this is the deck that I took into this team league. I ended up taking one of the best decks, in my opinion, Ordercolony. Let's get on into the profile. Obviously, starting out, we'll start with the G-Zone, because it's pretty self-explanatory. 4 Gradoras, best stride for Mega Colony as a whole. This card is absolutely broken. There's legit no reason not to run this card at 4. It shuts down everything. Grand Blue can't play, Nightmare Dolls can't play. There are so many decks that just can't play the game because of this card. Next, we have 1 copy of Obturandus. Obturandus is here for when you run out of Gradoras, if the game goes that long, but normally it will never go that long. I don't think I ever had a game that lasted past a 3rd Gradora, so I never used this card today, but it's there just as a precautionary measure. Next is 1 copy of Deprenor. This card, I really don't like this card, but like I needed something for flip fodder for Gradora, and I was like, this has pretty art. Next is 2 copies of Overwhelm. I run 2 copies of Overwhelm mainly because there are some decks, mainly Overlord, that if you Gradora them, they just don't care because they're always gonna have a grade 3 to ride, and they don't care about their rear guards or superior calling or G guarding, so they just don't care. And you want to get a very big hand, Overwhelm will do that a little bit better than Gradora will because she gets Quad Drive. Next is 1 Tyrantus. It's a GB8. He makes your board big if you run out of stuff to do. By the time you hit 4 Gradoras, you're at GB8 just off the strides alone, and he just makes the entire board big if your opponent overcommits, which most of the time they will, because it's just the longer the game goes, the more they have to commit to board to be able to pressure you back. 1 Zoa, self-explanatory, Xerox Dragon, kill card, needs no explanations. On to G-Guards, 2 copies of Morphosian. It's a free 25k shield. Like, it's probably the freest and biggest shield in Mega Colony. 1 copy of Dismal. I run a couple of rear guards that if they're on the board, my opponent can't stand, my opponent can't intercept, my opponent can't boost, stuff like that. And being able to just go and protect the rear guard is really essential. 1 copy of Colburn. This is mainly for stuff like Highlander, for OTT, for decks that get a very big hand. This is a very big shield for that situation. 1 copy of Gristfort. Gristfort is here for decks like it's just a force rest on Van Swing. So you can force rest back row, and if they have stuff like Crayon Tigers or something like that, they can't activate them because they don't have any boosters anymore. So it's just, and then he gets 5k for each rested back row. So he's okay. Definitely wish he was a little better, but he serves his purpose. Last, probably my favorite G-Guard in Mega Colony is Relish Lady. Relish Lady is the G flipper. On Van Swing, your opponent may choose, you can flip a G card, and your opponent may choose to rest 2 rear guards. If they don't, you get to draw a card, counter charge, and soul charge. That is amazing, especially being able to recoup resources for nothing. 1 V starter, honor I draw, get quick shield, extra card in hand, extra soul. This deck can have a soul issue if you don't see the pieces to go into soul. So it makes it like the more you can get, the better. We have 3 copies of High Class Moth, High Class Moth is the counter charger. It is a grade 3 in deck and soul, and it prevents intercept from cards. It counter charges, puts pieces back in deck that I can call with Ghidorah, and then also, and like it does everything. Like this card is absolutely broken when you think about it, because it just does so much for nothing. Next, we have, and excuse the non-SPs, 4 copies of Brilliant Blister, or not Brilliant Blister, Little Dorcas. Little Dorcas, grade 3 searcher, finds dragon, finds book, finds, I run another grade 3 order in this deck, finds it, finds high class moths, finds heal guards, finds anything you want, and then on first turn, 90% of the time, like on your first swing, if you go second, your opponent won't have a standing unit because they'll swing. So then this is just a free 13k. Really good. After that, we run 4 copies of V-Series Brilliant Blister. V-Series Brilliant Blister is the hand trap. If the opponent has a rested Vanguard, when you guard with this, you can Soul Blast 1 and discard a card. You can paralyze one of your opponent's rear guards, and then it can't stand until the end of the turn. And this works on their turn, which is what makes this card really, really, really good. And then also, early game, you can call this and just bounce it back to your hand for nothing. So it's a free 8k booster that just returns to hand like Nubatama used to do. Last for the grade ones, 1 Overdress PG. I run the Overdress PG because there's a certain order I run that lets me intercept, and seeing this, putting it in the drop and being able to intercept with it and just PG turn after turn after turn is really good. And like running grade 1 PGs, like if you run 1 or 2, you can get away with it. And then also having a mix, because like if someone goes no zeros, I have a grade 1. If they go no grade 1s, then I have grade 0s. So it's a good mix. I really like it. On to the grade 2s. 3 copies of Machining Mantis. On place top 6 for a grade 3, and then it gets plus 6k. Finds your pieces, adds consistency. Consistency is the name of the game, especially in a best of 1. You want as much consistency as you can get. 4 copies of Shadow Cloak. Shadow Cloak is the card that lets you fetch book and get it into your drop. It also lets you fetch any of your other orders and put them into your drop as well. And then he's a 10k attacker. So if I have to ride this against certain matchups, it's not bad. Especially stuff like Nightmare Dolls, so they can't early aggro me. Nova Grapplers, because they can't early aggro me. They have to call extra cards from hand, which in Mega Colony is a plus, because the second they call extra cards, I get benefits from it. So really good in that regard. Really good ride target. Only works on rear guard effect-wise, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of ways to find the book and other orders in this deck. 2 copies of Machining Armor Beetle. Machining Armor Beetle, he's a 15k attacker, and then when he's rested, your opponent can't intercept or boost with the column that he's in. So he's just a free rear guard. Like he's a rear guard he's a beat stick, and then he helps lock out what your opponent can do, which in Mega Colony, that's what you have to do, because that's how you win. Last for the grade 2s, 3 copies of Giraffa. This is the biggest beat stick in the deck. He draws cards, he gets big, he prevents moving and intercepting. This card is really good. The second I seen this card get revealed way back when we got Giraffa, I was like, awesome, Mega Colony has a really good grade 2 game now. So I was like, this is amazing. On to the grade 3s. 2 copies of Toxic Mutant Hell Demise. If you don't know what this card does, this is the call target for Ghidorah, because this lets you get your multi-attack. This lets you call it when it's placed on rear guard. You get to stand one of your other rear guards, so you can stand your front row. So you just go stand front row, swing again. Like, this card is really good. Also, it force rests opponent's cards, which makes a very big difference. Like, if I can't achieve the draw off this when I first swing it, I just don't activate it. Call this, stand this, and then cool, my opponent doesn't have a standing unit anymore. I can draw. So it's really good in that regard, and it helps, like, and it's free. Like, people run scissors, but it costs soul, and I don't like that. Last, the main bad boy of the deck, the Ruination Dragon. Ruination Dragon, on place, playing order for free. Like, what's better? He can play anything. He can play Book. He can play Lyrical Veil. He can play Clear Frame. He can play whatever you want. This card is absolutely broken, and I know people are claiming for order bugs to be hit. I expect this to be the card to get hit, honestly. Last, for normal units, or not even normal units, we're going to go to the orders that I play. 1 copy of Clear Frame for the Chaos and Bug match. 1 copy of Lyrical Veil for after I've drawn cards off of Book and I need to be able to sustain a little longer. Lets me call cards, let me get PGs, let me get interceptors, stuff like that. And then obviously the book of Strong Arming itself. Draw 3, 10k to 3 front row units. Absolutely broken, especially when you can play it for free. On to the triggers. We have 2 draw PGs. We have 4 go to soul crits. We have 4 strike crits. 1 over trigger. 1 30k Sentinel to use with Lyrical Veil. And then 4 Heal Guardians. Heal Guardians, they're grade 3s. They're searchable, especially in this deck when the whole point is to find grade 3s. Really good. This trigger lineup worked really well for me, mainly because this helps early game, and these help late game, which are really good. And like, this helps me survive a little bit more like early game and let me push back early game, which is what you want to do. I was playing a game today and I didn't ride grade 2 for like 6 turns. That is it for the deck. So that was the deck. I think I did pretty well considering what I fought against. I actually had to fight real decks. So I just want to give a shout out to Kingslayer Cards in Miami. Great sponsor, great store, great people, great community. I want to give a shout out to Richard Garcia, the CEO. He's a really good man. He's always had my back. He always will, and I'll always have his. I want to give a shout out to my teammates, Eric Zarita, and I want to give a shout out to Andrew Kondrick. Both guys played their hearts out, and we managed to get third. So, hey, shows something. And then I want to give a shout out to a friend, all the people back home in Jacksonville. I want to give a congratulations to some of my best friends, Robert Setranowski, James Albright, and Blake Strader. They got first place in this event, and I'm very proud of them. And then the last shout out I want to give is I want to give a shout out to a friend of mine up in Ohio. He's the one who introduced me to Megacolony. His name is Anthony Julian. He's a really good guy. Can be a little bit of a jerk, but I love him. So I'll see you guys later. Peace.